So as you can see, we're in the kitchen here. Everything's been cooked to the instructions. I do like a little bit of beef dripping, so I'm going to finish the fish off in here. Now I like to have the temperature up at about 185, 180, well, anywhere between 180 and 190. But I can tell you, they've got a kind of a home cooked chip, if you know what I mean, not like a frozen chip. Oh, okay, they're frozen. But they haven't got that about them, really. And that'll do. Throw the chips in and just give them a minute. Drain any excess off. It's not a big piece of fish. I'm quite enjoying doing this. At some point, there's a link to a free download recipe book I created. But, you know, it's a straight link to my website. It's an easy free download. Just click on the download. There's no viruses or anything like that rubbish. It's just a straight download PDF. And I've got loads of recipes in there because, you know, I do have a history as a home chef with a number of best-selling recipe books. I thought I'd put a bit of that to use like I do everywhere when I do a review. So I do have an idea of what I'm talking about most of the time. Up to now, I think I've either folded it through or picked it up from the Chippy. They're all floating about in there, so that's good. Let's take it to the office and get stuck into this. Well, this seems pretty strange doing this at home. Talk about the cooking methods. After I've indulged in this mushy peas, and you know what? It's not a bad consistency. I like mine a little lumpier than that, got to be said, with the peas in it. It's kind of a puree almost. Let's stir this curry sauce up. Let's go with the chipping here. That's not bad, to be honest with you. Just finishing these chips off in the beef dripping makes a huge difference. Now, I know you can't always do that. You might not want to do that. You might just not fancy beef dripping. But it has finished them off, whether you want to do that with oil or not, whether you just want to keep it as per instruction. So let's get a bit of chip shop vinegar on there. There's a link here above, and that will take you to a video I've done all about chip shop vinegar and the difference between real vinegar and non-brewed condiment. Lots of different brands do this. Bit of salt. So let's have a go at this fish. I'm actually enjoying doing this, to be honest with you. As you know, cut things in half. Okay, so a bad looking piece of fish, really. Not particularly big. The batter has definitely got a sweetness to it. And the fish, you would say it was frozen at sea, and I'll talk about the MSC certification in a little bit after we've had some of this. Even got the tablecloth out, look at this. Oh, we're going to have some fun with the Chippy toy, you know that. So if I peel some of this batter off, it's almost like a breading. This is the portion of chips, this is half the bag. That's not a bad deal. It's not going to beat your fish and chips from the fish and chip shop. It's just not going to do it. It's still okay, at the very least. The time it takes to mess about in the kitchen. Now, okay, I spent a little bit more time putting it in the deep fat fryer, but you saw yourself, it doesn't take much. A couple of minutes for each of these. But you know I advocate for traditional fish and chip shops. All these frozen chips and whatnot. I'm not always a fan of. I do like the fresh cut chips from the Chippy, which most Chippies do. I'm not a fan of frozen chips from the Chippy, but I also understand sometimes there's time constraints. But give me fresh cut chips anytime. You know, it's not a bad piece of fish, really. I'd go with a small piece of fish, but not that small. I've been to Harry Ramsden's before. That was at Cheshire Oaks. Wasn't overly impressed, but you know, it was a decent meal, but it wasn't what I was expecting from Harry Ramsden's. So how does their Harry Ramsden's at-home meal fare? Well, let's have a look at the ingredients first. The jumbo battered Atlantic haddock fillets. That's a 2-pack of 500 grams or 1.1 pounds for those still using pounds or those abroad, and £6.50. So, you know, that doesn't sound so bad for 2 pieces of fish. So the batter consists of water, wheat flour, and in the wheat flour you've got the calcium carbonate, and that acts as a rising or a raising agent, if you like, a leavening agent. So it also has the iron, niacin, thiamine, your B vitamins, which are soluble, and rapeseed oil. Added to that is more on the raising agents: diphosphate, ammonium carbonates, salt, dextrose. See, dextrose is a funny one, and it's something you need to look into for any sort of extra sugars and things like that, especially if you're diabetic. Maize flour, wheat starch, wheat gluten, maize starch, paprika, interesting, turmeric extract, sunflower oil. So there's nothing harmful in there, obviously, unless you're allergic or have a problem with any of those ingredients. That's quite a lot going into the batter on this fish, which is a lot more than just flour and water, or flour and beer, or a few little bits and bobs in the fish and chip shop batter that you'll get, because sometimes they like to have their own style of batter. The chip shop chips. Now the pack weight is 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds, and it's £3 or £3 here in the UK. Contains potatoes, sunflower oil, potato starch, rice flour, pea flour, maize starch, rice starch, salt, dextrose, which is a corn sugar from corn starch. It's derived from corn starch. So it's like I said before, it's important to check that out if you're a diabetic. Chip shop curry sauce, a 2-pot pack. Now I don't know what these things look like inside because I've not opened the cardboard as yet. That's £1.50, 2 pots. That sounds reasonable enough. Water, maize maltodextrin, which is another starch. It's a complex carbohydrate, and it's always in different types of foods, and I've written that down here. Rice flour, modified maize starch. That's to improve the texture and the structure of the other ingredients. That sort of combines everything together. Sugar, spices, ground fenugreek, ground coriander, ground fennel, ground cumin, ground black pepper, ground turmeric, ground cayenne pepper, salt, tomato powder, rapeseed oil, and garlic powder. Plenty of ingredients, nothing particularly harmful. Little extra sugar in there, a few starches. That's about it, really. Chip shop mushy peas, 2 pot, £1.50 for the 2. Rehydrated peas, water, dried peas, and salt. That's basically it. That works out at £6.25 per person. So let's go and give that a go. Let's cook that up, and I'm going to eat it right here. People keep asking me, what do you reckon to some of these frozen things, and what do you reckon to... So I thought, well, let's do one. Let's compare them. MSC stands for Certified Sustainable Seafood. The Marine Stewardship Council, MSC, is an international non-profit organisation on a mission to stop overfishing. When you buy fish and seafood with the blue MSC eco-label, you're helping to protect our oceans and driving change above and below the water. And there are quite a few, not enough yet, but there are quite a few fish and chip shops that use or sell MSC certified fish and chips, or fish I should say. And it's always a good thing that people are thinking that way. So what about the cooking times? Well, the fish was at 200C, gas mark 7, 40 to 45 minutes, which is quite a long time. Chips in the oven again at 200C, 20 to 25 minutes. Peas 3 minutes in the microwave, curry 3 minutes in the microwave. So okay, how do I rate it? Well, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, and not because I'm comparing it with fish and chip shops, but just as a meal at home, because there's no comparison to fish and chip shops. I think the only comparison I'd have, and having eaten it, Harry Ramsden's once before, and it not being horrible, but not being the best, I probably would still go for that over that Harry Ramsden's meal. But it's still Harry Ramsden's, isn't it? But if it came to a good fish and chip shop, I'd have that any day. Less hassle, fresher chips, no frozen chips, not usually. A simpler batter with no extras in it, no sweeteners, no nothing. A fluffier batter, and I'd have a bigger piece of fish. Cooking, cleaning up, and all. You've not got any of that. Nip to the Chippy or phone them up in advance. I'm coming to pick this up, or deliver it for a couple of quid, or whatever it is the delivery service charges. And you can throw everything away afterwards. Eat out of the paper or the box or whatever it is they provided him. It was a decent meal. See you on the next one.